hands of the people.
Well, that's powerful, you know, and Texas still has its consumer law protection that's stronger than many, many states.
That's right.
And so we've got that. What about all this construction problems, homeowners, that I know that you were concerned about that we had, you know, people on a board that were looking at, say if they built your home and there were some foundation problems, things like that. I know you were looking at that. What has changed, or what's your understanding of the update on that board?
What we did is there was a change to try to change the law negatively for us. It stopped. We stopped that. So what we're doing is letting our local counties and our cities oversee, which we should when you have that construction. So there will not be a negative state law changing the consumer rules and the consumer procedures. Now, I will tell you that when we leave the session, like we have, because we're only there 140 days every 2 years unless there's a special, and it was very brief this time. When you leave, a lot of times organizations and agencies start interpreting things differently. And so we as legislators have to come back and say, no, 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 this was the intent of the law. And in fact, this week I was meeting with the Commissioner of Insurance, and I had a good discussion with him, and maybe we can get him plugged in with you and your show. I asked him, I said, I think it's time that the Department of Insurance has exposure and communication with our area of the state.
I agree.
And he agreed to come down here, and so hopefully this late fall we can get him down here, maybe talk with you on the show, or at least give some input, because I think it's important that our insurance agencies now deal with our people directly. So
I
that's
agree.
Good communication.
Yes, and a lot of people were devastated that things weren't covered. A lot of people say, wait a minute, you know, those exclusions between wind-driven rain and flooding and surging of water. And
now the roof tiles that people are seeing, you're seeing on TV, there's a question on if a roof tile comes off, who pays?
Who pays? And a lot of people's claims were denied or they were wiped out in Louisiana. And in Houston, I know Galveston area, there was a lot of confusion over what was covered and what wasn't. So hopefully this legislation will help that out. It's so important, the work you're doing up there. And a lot of people, there's a lot of apathy, you know, with the economy, everybody's hurting. You know, but when we all come together on these issues, did people come visit you up in Austin like I did?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was
not
only in a hurricane. What happens is, so everybody knows, and you did a great job, because he came up, he brought folks that knew healthcare issues. Well, that helps us. So when laws pop up, I can pick up the phone and say, is this good, is this bad, because you have some specific expertise. So that helps us. I will tell you that throughout the legislative session, it was very good. From January to May, we had lots of folks from our area come up there to visit with us on all sorts of issues. And it educates, it also brings us a little strength, because when I'm maybe debating an issue that involves somebody from another area of the state, when you have the backup from your own community, you can make a lot of progress, which we were able to do. And the delegation worked well together. We had a good delegation from the senator and all three of us. So we all worked as a team, but it was great. People came up, they gave us their input. We had all sorts of issues. We had issues that relating to all health matters. We had education issues, higher and public educations, that we had folks coming up. We ended up having a lot of discussion on, you know, how we should finance education. We didn't get to reach that, because in 140 days you can't reach everything, but we have some good seeds for the future on maybe taking a look at that. And we had looked at some other ideas. I had people come up and talk to me on the cruise ships, which we'll talk about here a little bit, on developing that.
I'm excited about the cruise ships, and you know, the last half of the show I wanted to devote to that, because boy, that's going to be some dollars, and that's going to bring in, that's what we need, is economic growth. You know, our good friend Juan Reyna here, you know, he's stamping out injustice in court right now. But, you know, he even said, he goes, where's the growth in our community? Where is everything? Seems like all the dollars and everybody are going to San Antonio, where, we have one of the biggest ports in the world. It's ranked, right up there with Baltimore, the ports.
Right.
I mean, and we've got this great port. What are we doing with our city? And what are we doing with our county? And people forget that you're not just looking at Nueces County. It's Calhoun, San Patricio, and Aransas also. And so you've got a big area to cover, and Calhoun's interests, as you said, within this region are different from Corpus.
There's a lot of different things. We are a lot alike, but they have a lot of issues that don't necessarily have us down here. But everybody's pretty much on the same page in our zone. Everything south of Houston is. But they may have a local issue that's much different than us. And you have to make sure that you balance and take care of everybody.
Well, the windstorm issue, and if people have more questions, where do they contact you?
Well, the way to call us is you can call us at our state district office here. We have a district office, which is 949-4603, 949-4603, or call information and they'll have it there. And let us know. And the other thing is I was chosen as one of the 8 legislators to be on the oversight. And what that means for everybody, I know, since I was there before, that when the legislature ends sometimes, a lot of changes take place that are not necessarily good for us as taxpayers. And so we created in the new law an 8-member oversight so that if things change, if you get affected by things while we're not in the legislature, you call one of us 8 so we can take a look at it. So remember, we do have that now, and the Coastal Bend is represented, so we've got input.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like you went back to be with your family, and a lot of people, let's just take a step back. A lot of people don't know that you're a named partner in a great firm, Hunter Handle, Rod, great guy. And even though he's a Yankee, Wisconsin, I love it.
Well, football season, Big
that's
Ten
right.
for him.
I know, Cheesehead, Rod. But I mean, y'all have a great firm there. But you've got to straddle that. You've got kids at home. You took those 10 years to be off, and it's like you never left. It's like a comfortable pair of shoes. And tell people what that means to us when you get somebody like yourself, and not tooting your own horn. But you were there, and now it's going into 2-3 decades, going into the 3rd decade of service. Because when you came back, you get all that seniority.
That's correct. You do.
And so what does that mean in real terms? Because people have this cynical view, politicians, this and that. And that's why I want to take this opportunity to really reintroduce you every 6 months. Get that update. What does that mean when you have that seniority?